ever since I got my new tablet, it's been a blast. And I don't mean a good blast, I mean a blast like this. And you might remember that my previous tablet had much worse issues. So this new one I thought would be a total friggin' upgrade, and it is mostly a total friggin' upgrade, and that's not because this tablet is that much better, it's because my previous tablet was that much worse. So I'm glad that I don't have to do this anytime I want to fix my tablet. I'm not joking, by the way, I really had to do this to fix it. But something that stayed consistent, unfortunately, were the poor controls on these tablets. The buttons were tacky and awkwardly placed, and most of all, the scroll wheels on both of these are terrible. Just awful. I mean, look at this. This is my new current tablet. When I saw this, I genuinely thought to myself, so I paid $300 friggin' for this. This wretched company, I don't even trust them no more. And so, you know, I'm thinking to myself, well, let me try to fix it first. I searched it up, I found the problem. Turns out it's to do with the internals once again. And I tried to bust open the scroll wheel cap, and let's just say I got scared I was gonna break the tablet, and I kind of sort of didn't want to pay $300 again. So I just raised my hands up and said, yep, I'm not risking that, no sir. And I was really disappointed. I mean, I was hoping to get back my lovely screen with my lovely controls. And I even went for the same model that previously was my favorite model from XP Pen. But unfortunately, I got gotted twice. I mean, this really blows. The controls are a really big blow because when your controls are awkward and finicky, your workflow is going to be slow. Things aren't doing what you want them to do, and as such, everything comes to a crawl. This is something I had to fix. So ever since, I've been on a quest to find a drawing tablet controller that I can always rely on no matter the tablet I'm using. And as a digital artist, I think this is something everyone will have to go through in figuring out. And this video is my journey of how I figured out mine. And maybe, just maybe, I can help you figure it out for yourself as well. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video! I noticed that we recently hit our goal, brothers. That's right, 2K. Even a little more, I see. I believe it's time to reveal who's behind the Dran mask. I know it must be disappointing to know that I don't have pink skin and luscious blue eyes, but I can do this. Hold on. Yeah. That's pretty cool. It's like Luffy. I hope that makes up for it. No, but thank you guys so much for 2K subs. That's a milestone for me, and I thought it would take a lot longer to get there. I really did. So I'm most likely going to keep the video editing the same. I might show my face more here and there for some funny bits, but I'm not super keen on going moist critical mode. You know, unless I suddenly become 10 times more handsome, then maybe I will. But for now, this guy is going to continue to be in the videos. But, of course, this opens the doors for more things I can do, and I don't have to sit through the editing and go like, they can see my face. Delete! As an example, I'm hosting an event where I react to your art setups. You know, kind of like what I got going on here, but I'm reacting. If you've ever seen Jay Schlatt's series where he reacts to his viewers' PC setups, it's kind of like that, except I want to see your art setups. What do you use to draw? Are you a digital artist or a traditional artist? Do you have a fancy standing desk, or do you use a cardboard box? Etc, etc. Everyone's got their own ways of drawing, and as a result, they've got their own kinds of setups that are personalized to them. So I'm really curious to know what your guys' setups look like, and I'll show off mine as well during the event. Send in photos or videos with the link in the description below. I will be reacting to all of them on stream on this day. It should be right over my face. Nice. And now, back to the video. Ooh, ooh. So when I finally had enough of my tablet and its terrible shortkeys and dial, I went to Amazon to find me a controller. I never thought I would have had to do this, as I always thought to myself that those things must be awkward to use and that my tablet's buttons would never be bad. And that's because most of them look like this. They're all flat with a bunch of buttons and a dial placed at the very top of them. I pretty much had no other choice but to get one of these kinds of controllers, though I thought, well, since they all share the same kind of layout and design, surely this must be good. So I went with the XP Pen remote control because I have an XP Pen tablet and it looks nice, I guess. It also doesn't have a shit ton of buttons, and some of the buttons are bigger than others. Meanwhile, the Huion one, holy crap, dude, that's a lot of buttons. In the end, I don't think it would have really mattered which one I went with, as they're all essentially the same. And so it arrived the very next day. I get it set up pretty seamlessly, the scroll wheel feels nice, and so do the buttons. Great! So I get started with drawing on it, and holy fuck, I don't need this many buttons. It felt as though my hand was in the middle of one of these. Since any wrong button press would do a shortcut I didn't want at all. Just gonna undo something here. Oops! Now thankfully, they provided these funny little stickers that didn't help that much because having to look at my shortcut buttons every time I need to use them to know which is which defeats the entire purpose of having this stupid thing in the first place, but I digress. The more frustrating part of using this controller was the fact that I wasn't used to having my hand flat on the table while working on my tablet that's propped up like this. Even when I did a traditional artwork, I had my paper propped up as well, since for me, it helps to not break my neck. I tried and I tried to get used to this thing, but with my fingers being confused as to where I was, the awkward placement of everything, I just couldn't work like this. So I knew I had to fix it and figure out how to prop up this controller so that I could actually draw. And the only fix I ended up finding for this was this phone holder thing. Honestly, I wouldn't even have known about this if it weren't for my dad, since he uses this thing just to prop up his phone. But this turned out to be perfectly sized for this controller and allowed me to position it in any way I wanted. I mean, really, this thing is pretty neat. And if I didn't have this, then this controller would have been useless. So after buying it, the controller finally felt somewhat natural. It was still fairly awkward, as again, I'd hit buttons I didn't mean to, and the thing would move around a bunch, but it still worked enough that I could draw comfortably. And after using it for a couple of weeks, the XP Pen controller was okay at best. And don't get me wrong, the build quality on this thing is nice, like it feels very good. It's just that overall, I don't really like these kinds of controllers. It looks like someone just grabbed a piece of plastic and put 40 buttons on there and was like, yeah, that's fine. It feels super unnatural to use. And yeah, you can get used to it, but for me, it was really annoying and honestly still is. Like, I cannot go back to this thing. I don't want to bind more buttons on this thing because I don't want to accidentally hit any shortcuts I didn't mean to that'll slow me down and have me annoyed. The only other controllers out there are these things, and I'm not buying them. If you're someone that is already using your keyboard or uses a non-visual tablet, then I actually might recommend these kinds of controllers, since I guess your hands are already flat on the table. But I think people that use a propped up visual tablet like myself will inevitably find it awkward to use, at least initially. And like I said before, if I didn't find a way to prop up this controller by finding that weird phone holder thing, then I legitimately wouldn't have been able to use this at all. After all of this though, I thought to myself, nah man, this can't be it. There has to be something better. This can't be everything that's available. And after digging through the internet, I eventually found this, the best controller. Kind of, sort of. But before we continue, please subscribe. More subs helps the channel out and helps me to make more videos for you guys. So, yeah. Anyway. So guys, this is the Clip Studio Paint Tabmate. And just to know, I'm not sponsored or anything. I still haven't been sponsored, so. Now, I'll tell you briefly how I came across this thing, because I'll tell you what, I have seen absolutely nothing about this little device online until I searched it up directly. It all started with this video. The mangaka behind To Rent a Girlfriend did a video showing a day in the life with Paolo from Tokyo. I know saying Rent a Girlfriend might have brought back some bad memories for some of you, but the context was definitely needed. Anyway, in his art setup, he actually uses this device, though his was a different color than what they normally show off, so I always thought he had some random Wii nunchuck, but turned it into a controller for his tablet. And, well, I was wrong. Yada yada yada, I found it online until I saw that it wasn't available. I couldn't find it being sold anywhere from Clip Studio themselves. It was totally and utterly gone. I was shattered. I thought, man, I'm too late. This thing is gone. I glanced at my stupid XP Pen tablet thinking, am I really gonna be stuck with this thing? That is until I received a message from the heavens above. Go to eBay, my son. It has what you need. Yeah. Just gonna do a bit of this, get that, add that to my cart. Ratatata. Now I wait. Ratatata. 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 And now it's here. Now thankfully you won't have to do what I did, as this took a long time to get to me. The Tabmate has actually come back into stock and now you can buy it officially. It happened as I was making this video too, so I had to change the video title completely. But now it's back and it's time to review the best drawing controller I've ever used. Let's begin with the pros and cons. Starting off with the pros, it feels natural in your hand and doesn't take much time to get used to. This is probably the defining reason why I got this. And I don't know why we don't have any other options that are shaped in a way where it fits your hand seamlessly like this. Where the XP Pen controller took me days to weeks to get familiar with, this only took me a couple of days to adjust to. And because I can just hold on to it and have all the shortcuts always at the tips of my fingers, I can be in any kind of position I want while I use it. It's super versatile and ergonomic. Next, it's wireless. This is less of a pro, more of a standard, as every drawing controller is wireless. Still a plus nonetheless, it could be wired. Buttons and wheel feels good. The buttons and wheel feel fantastic. So good, in fact, I sometimes just use this like a little fidget toy. The buttons are clicky, responsive, and distinct from one another. For example, the undo button sounds like this. And then the redo button sounds like this. It further adds to the fact that its ergonomic shape lends itself to seamless ease of use, so you're never having to look at what button you're pressing. Rather, you develop muscle memory for the placements of all the buttons thanks to each of them being distinct. Though I will say that the shell itself does feel like cheap plastic, but the saving grace is that the buttons and wheel feel very good. Lots of versatility and options for shortcuts in Clip Studio Paint. So when you're binding buttons and shortcuts to this thing in Clip Studio Paint, you do have quite a large array of options. Now this isn't a big pro because I have gripes with how you bind stuff on here, but at the very least it does offer a lot of customization, which is good. And if you're already very in tune with Clip Studio Paint, then it's a good pro. That's it for the pros. Let's move on to the cons. First up, we got, it needs a Bluetooth dongle to fix bad connectivity. From what I could find, this seemed to be a pretty common issue, enough to where it's even on the official page for it. I think that this is something that could be easily fixed if it came with a USB connector or something similar to the XP Pen controller, but yeah, this thing really needs it. When I didn't have a proper Bluetooth dongle, it had terrible connection. I'm talking awful delays, but not a big deal since Bluetooth dongles are very cheap. Like I got this one here for like $10. Not a huge deal. But if you're using this with Clip Studio on like your iPad or something, then you wouldn't need to get a Bluetooth dongle because that already has a pretty good Bluetooth connection. Next, it needs batteries. Yes, it does need batteries, which means that you will have to replace it over and over again. It doesn't have the luxury of being a chargeable device, and while it's not a deal breaker for me, it definitely is annoying. Like, I can't say how good the battery life is yet because I haven't used it for that long, but batteries are pricey and something to, keep tabs on. So it might be annoying for you, or it might not be annoying for you, but for me, it's personally annoying, and I would consider it a con. Can only set binds to Clip Studio Paint commands. Yes, this is also a con because basically each button on this device only binds itself to commands and shortcuts that are already within Clip Studio itself, meaning you cannot bind something custom to it. Now, this alone isn't the biggest deal to me anyway, since you can bind the necessities, even if it requires you to go digging around in the program to find exactly what it is and what it's labeled on there, or changing like how a tool works to fit that custom bind. The real issue is that it only works with Clip Studio. And hey, I get it, it's a Clip Studio product, and Clip Studio is one of the best art programs out there, but I'm sure that this device would be so much more popular if you could not only bind whatever you wanted to each button, but also use it with any program. And as a result, it's kind of niche. And now, last but not least, it's a little small. This last one is definitely more on the nitpicky side, but it's just a little small. I have average size hands, so luckily it's not too small for me, but everybody's different, of course. So if someone has bigger hands, this will not be so ergonomic anymore. I think it'd help just to go a size up just a little bit more is all, and then I think it would be perfect. Nice. Now I know that's a lot of cons, but hear me out. The pros make up for them completely. I've never had a controller feel this good, and even if my tablet's buttons were good, I think I would still be glad that I switched to this one. Now I just gotta hope I never stop using Clip Studio. And that's that. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Don't forget to send your art setups with the link in the description below. I'm quite excited for this event. You know, there's lots that could be shown. You can show it through like pictures or videos. You can give us a full-on tour so that me and the stream can all react together. And also, what do you think about controllers like these? Or are you a fan of the flat ones with the shit ton of buttons on them? Do you like them? Are flat remotes the way? Or would you prefer something that's more akin to a Wii nunchuck? Let me know in the comments below, bros. And once again, thank you guys so much for 2K subs. The road begins for 3K subs. Wow! Subscribe, like, share with your friends, and yeah. See you later. Shout out to my Patreon, Photo Man, you're the man.
You